Who I believe to be the true birthers of choosing beggars, it's entitled parents. Our first one is from Happy Llama 78625. Here is some important background information. When I, 18 female, was 3 years old, my father, unfortunately, died in a car crash, leaving my mother alone to take care of me. But with the death of my father, she spiraled into depression and she became an alcoholic. And the alcohol addiction opened up to a drug addiction. And that's when my father's family stepped in with the help of the courts, removed me from her custody, and from there, I was put into the care of my aunt, my father's sister, and uncle, and they eventually adopted me after my mother passed away about a year later. So I've spent most of my life living with my aunt and uncle, and during middle school I started to call them mom and dad. It just feels right to me, and no one in my family has an issue with it. Or at least they haven't said anything about it. Until this weekend. I'm going to refer to them as mom and dad for the rest of the post. So this weekend, we went to spend Memorial Day weekend at my grandparents' house, mom's side. They have like a 2-acre plot of land, so it's common for my extended family to go there on special occasions and holidays. Well, this weekend, I got to meet one of my cousin's fiancé, and it was the first time meeting her, and I'm not going to lie, she was a bit obnoxious, and she came off a bit spoiled. Like, she seems the kind of person who would announce a pregnancy at a wedding. On Saturday, me, my mom, dad, cousin, fiancé, aunt and uncle, cousin's parents, were sitting at a table outside in the backyard chatting, and the fiancé looked at me and said, "It's crazy how much you look like your mom. Like, you look nothing like your dad." She then said to my dad, "You sure she's yours?" The joke flopped hard, and my dad and cousin gave a courtesy chuckle, and my mom spoke up and said, "Well, she's my brother's daughter. He, died when she was 3, and her mom couldn't take care of her, so we've been raising her." The fiancé then said to me, "Oh, but you called them mom and dad like a few minutes ago." I replied, "Yeah." And everyone was quiet for a second, and the fiancé broke the silence with, "Why?" I was a little confused and a bit annoyed and said, because I can. It's what I want to call them." "But it's weird. They're not your mom and dad. I don't like it." I was fed up with her by now and said, "Oh, okay. I'll make sure to write that down in my notes." The table was silent, and it was super awkward after that, and I dismissed myself from the table and went to hang out with my grandma. I thought that the whole situation was over, but the next morning, I walked into the kitchen, and my mom, grandparents, and the fiancé were in there. And I walked up to my mom and hugged her and said, "Good morning, Mom." After I said that, the fiancé looked at us and said, "I already told you, I don't like when you call them that. They're your aunt and uncle, not your parents." My grandpa said, "It's none of your business what the girl calls them. Mind your own business." After that, she didn't really talk to me much, but she would give me weird looks whenever we were in the same room. Hopefully I won't see her again for a while, and I kinda feel bad for my cousin who has to deal with her. Sorry if this post was long or boring or both, but thanks for reading. If this lady's gonna nitpick something like that, I can't even imagine the other small things that she would probably massively blow out of proportion. On top of the fact that it seems like she doesn't understand adoption, how adoption works, or anything of the sort. And our final one is by Big Engine That Did. I haven't spoken to anyone on my mother's side in 1 year over this, and I'm questioning if I ever will again, despite loving them and wanting a relationship with them. I am married, and my husband and I share the exact same background story. We both grew up poor, in bad environments, and we both left home at 18 for college and never looked back. I didn't meet my husband until I was 31, and by then, we'd both managed to overcome our upbringings and create decent lives for ourselves. We are dinks with a very modest home, and we keep our expenses minimal because we prefer regular travel over nicer things. We both work remote as well, so from the outside looking in, we appear to always be on vacation. At one point, I decided to start posting travel content to see if I could generate a following and monetize it, which ended up working out, and I was able to earn small amounts and a few free things here and there. I was more than happy with this outcome, so I continued to post in hopes of what this might become. I live across the country from my family, so no one had any idea that I was doing well before I started posting because I usually only saw them on holidays. My increased posting of our travels led to my family members start asking me for money. I was initially happy to help because the requests made sense and it didn't hurt the budget. Over time, it started going from a couple hundred here and there to increasingly ridiculous requests, as well as more people asking. For example, my brother's fiance asked me to pay for their wedding. Not to help, but to cover it completely. My husband became fed up, and together we created an agreement with each other that any request over a certain amount needs to be approved by the other. He also said that my mother is the only person I need to worry about, and to let everyone else take care of themselves. Now, my husband is a lot more bootstrap mentality than I am, so his response is usually no, whereas I used to have a harder time with that. With him supporting me, it became much easier to say no. I even gained confidence after a while, and eventually, everything except someone being homeless or hungry became an easy no for me. My family definitely noticed the shift and commented on it, but it didn't seem like a big deal. Fast forward. My mom slips up while we're talking on the phone and I find out that she was lying to me about why she needed money. After I cut everyone off but her, they began asking her to ask me and she would do it and pretend that it was for her. This hurt my feelings and my response was to stop helping her financially as well. She started asking other people in the family instead. One day, I get a phone call from a cousin of mine. This cousin makes good money, but he has a whole family to support and he's also regularly asked for money. He asks me why my mom is asking him for money instead of me, and tells me that I need to step up and share the load. He goes on this tangent about how we need to stick together and take care of the people who took care of us. I don't bother explaining how we got here, just keep it civil and let it go. After this, a younger relative of mine, who also posts content, makes a video about people who don't help family and forget where they come from. Imagine my hurt and surprise to open the comments and see my aunt comment, "I won't say any names, but rhymes with Clara." My name is Sarah. Even worse is that the comment had a lot of likes, replies, and laughing emojis from other family members. That was more than enough for me. I haven't talked to anyone since then, and have removed and blocked all of my relatives from social media. I don't know if this is permanent, and I do miss them, but I'm just not ready to deal with this entitlement and ungratefulness again. That's really sad, but at the same time, it's not a surprise because there's the people that I would refer to as leeches that if you help them just a little bit, they'll want to take more and more and more until eventually you have nothing and they have everything. To try to play the guilt card because somebody in the family is doing well and doesn't feel like they should have to support the entirety of the family, that's pretty damn entitled and fucked up. Alright, that's enough entitlement for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Entitled Parents. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.